Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Hey Ghana, the political and judicial drama just won't stop. The sacked CJ Torkonoo has once again dragged President Mahama to court, sending shockwave across the nation. And guess what? Ivan has descended heavily on her over this fresh legal battle. Stay tuned as we break down every twist and turn off this explosive story you cannot afford to mix.
Actually, when you answer, ma, dear Trinchi, and no Najaya Bessia, near the home and come more. I can say,
oh, Yamiadum, I will say the most important thing to say, yeah, the rest, yeah.
And then Yamia say, and I topics I discussing here, me and Sa, me patcho de kind, me shadana many come more money because I mean, say a main topic I ever discuss in tonight, you can say, me touch on it. And no, and it's a Chief Justice, former Chief Justice, Mammy Gertrude, it's about Torkonoo, what your cards are the copy more High Court to say, say President Mahama, any committee, no report, no chance, or Yen free as Chief Justice, ni Debre Crano as Supreme Court Judge. On TSS was no so yejeka ho into what challenge and no e court to say process no na ni nche da enye ho enti no enwasem no enti be ba cho innocent ye aba no wi na the attorney general because any nyina ye law no na the age de na okeka na dwen kire Ghana Bar Association no ato aso
ya ma mencha na mencha watie for na menka se onse growing up no na akra bia we akra wadwen se panyin bia nim nyansa until say obenyina do level bia won so be chase a process nema I put two things together na be say san panyin bia nim nyansa asada akra o nim nyansa onwu onkra brem no onyini be ye panyin. And it's the same thing. Sana first, not in China, you have no understanding about legal issues. No, be kind of TV, so na radio. So say, okay, come kwasa some crowd. Why do you say okay Kenyans some? Because some now can won't hear.
Yeah.
But now if you want Kenya, me say a month for it me really wide.
Sure.
They subject issues to critical scrutiny. Third, then you fold crana. Once you have your friend says sense, then you can analyze and look at certain things. Anything and there, who say Ghana for not do na venture into some of these areas. Otherwise, they wouldn't go because people anya uncertain understanding and more that are holding to probe into some of the issues like this.
Yeah.
This Chief Justice issue, I think say what in China would say the sikwa ne anya de oye no na sabi ebumabam na mum I give credence to the fact say in some Ghana for over the years say your judiciary no aye staffy and there are a lot of chaff aye pia kwa gugum no aye no kre. Because some of the arguments now especially with this new way, clearly what in church means that this is absolute nonsense and very childish in whichever sense that you want to say it.
Yeah.
First of all, or say relief now or seek for the want of jurisdiction, or say president committee now or set it up say tenancy committee was not properly constituted.
Yeah.
And this Okasa was not properly constituted under Article 146. Clearly, Constitution outline the individuals as a panel or more, and two Supreme Court judges.
Yeah.
And the President Mahama committee, two Supreme Court judges and and other people are Ninina was in line with the Constitution. So the mere fact that you have issues with the individuals are in your twisted mind. You think they are not neutral, whatever. That's a different thing. But the fact is that to argue legally, say it was not properly constituted, on what basis in the law, and our said they were not legally constituted, and now two Supreme Court judges, or Supreme Court judges, other person or a lawyer and or your lawyer, and two Ghanaians from Bakan or Togolese and our Japanese. These are some of the arguments when you are able to ground your argument on some of these things, then people will say you are making sense. But my culture from day one, why supposed to advertising and one say, Lord, and I'm making me nim kind of us and no the sort of understanding now about the law is totally different and very shocking because my culture. This is the Chief Justice, or the administrative head of the judiciary. Otiminya kukudro fa pen ni paper. Ede koko to say. a constitutional provision your constitution my say proceedings of this nature should not be shown on TV but rather should be held in camera. She had the infantry to saying right to court to say young vary that particular constitutional provision and you know with TV so but you need to look at the reasoning behind it. This is a chief justice who understands that this is an explicit constitutional provision and no court has the power to vary it. But for her to make a case that you change, you know, we are Ghana near, you should be worried. And again, and she's saying say as a chief justice. Now, you as a Supreme Court judge. This is absolute nonsense. And you see, and I make us say, case bia, mami we yatna su bia no. The new chief justice should be petitioned. Now, open those cases, because if this mindset and all the tenor who did this are same way, clearly just something untoward might have occasioned somewhere. But because the reasoning and understanding of the law, no, is somewhere weird because you are chief justice, is premised on the fact that we are your friends justices of the Supreme Court. So when you become your friends chief justice, you are an ex officio because you cannot be a chief justice without being your friends justice of the Supreme Court, of the Supreme Court. So once you are a chief justice playing an administrative role, you are an ex officio, meaning your position as a chief justice is tied to the fact that we are your friend Supreme Court judge. And here is the case. You have been flagged, sir. You are incompetent legally because the constitutional process has been set in motion, and you have been flagged as an incompetent person. Our flouted law. So and some of these things have to do with character. And as a babia, you better discharge uttermost of integrity and the character. It is not the chief justice, it is the judge as a Supreme Court judge. As I don't know whether you get it. So if the whole argument is what from and you are now a disgraced chief, a disgraced chief justice. You have been flagged. So what bumra, one famra nyaduma, the open away, and you as a chief justice. It means that integrity is battered. And if there is an institution where absolute integrity is required to engineer its activities, it is the justice of the Supreme Court. So once you've been removed as a chief justice, there is no way that no sensible person can make any argument to say you can come back as what? As a Supreme Court judge. Because you are a disgraced person, you be a good and you must catch us. I won't farm right now. And to find and the Supreme Court, I'm about telling him say dinasa mano. This thing is common sense. And sometimes you listen to people trying to make argument for some of these. I say sometimes you see, just use common sense, reasonable. If you try to be reasonable, you know that some of these things are highly untenable because. For instance, my mom example, Oko teaching hospital, very often the doctors and your friend is saying CEOs. So Wako a particular hospital, Oko no CEO at Aquachi or Bash and office, our officer, or Bano for Sono, Yatsano as a CEO. Or yes, I did because or in the power as a CEO and when you take advantage in a Yatsano. Some person I say, yeah, something you know, on to be the CEO of the hospital. Now, by a doctor, our hospital. Because assembly has to do with moral character. What display actually say with integrity. Go to your judiciary, your friends say all the regulations in absolute and in no uncertain terms. So when you're judge, you must espouse integrity. You must advertise integrity. You must live integrity at its uttermost. This is somebody who has been seen and who has been flagged. And a constitutional provision, and as a constitutional provision has been activated. And now you have become a disgraced chief justice in Aminu. You become a disgraced officer. Such an officer, you argue with say, back. Now, do you think any serious person will even ever respect the judiciary ever again? Because putting somebody who has been flagged as an incompetent person. So some of these arguments, then I don't know, baby, the law. Now I don't know the kind of interpretation sometimes, and I will be surprised. Will be in the Senate, and our money yes, or somebody should whisper to her, say, "Oh, good, and you see." years of dedication, there was several arguments now or making or subjecting who to public mockery. Because don't you ever think, say, what are we Chief Justice? You are an embodiment of the law. You understand it and nobody should speak. No. There are other areas that people can just subject it to critical scrutiny and begin to ask questions. Your understanding of the law is flawed. And then that brings back to question and some of it what's not to be seen there. So anyway, and all the tenants, so I think it's problematic. You understand? That is why I am calling your friends the new the Chief Justice say every single case we are talking no Torkonoo biano, they all ye should give us a reason to go back and probe into some of this, because this thinking and this reasoning, should never be allowed to come anywhere close to be sitting at the Supreme Court bench or the DSM. So I think it's very embarrassing watching all this. Then coming to the first the last time I said we started here, the very moment the petition was submitted, the President Kasi me established a credence, and I told you on point blank, there is no going back. This woman, whatever way be, because you see, at the Supreme Court, I think because I don't know we are so special. Nipa to me change the future. There's the only institution ever to me to take your life. Or make me say yenkoku, nansana yase yamrani yase sana kakra. But this is the only institution that can withdraw your right to life. So it is such a sensitive institution. Say we are judge now anymore. You must discharge integrity. People have, even though we are nipa there, but you must endeavor, try your best to ensure say you will not. You find the shame public confidence in that kind of idea man for war. But so better now argument I will make it, and I say President need to me say Obesa cannot and process it's not in line with the dictate of article. Article 146 ebia ono version ye them already and answer the version Makacho said this whole process is not a novelty. Because Oko Constitution and mention Chief Justice and mention your friends head of the tribunal, whatever, and there's some mention of your friends judges at the Supreme Court. It is a categorization and the process now you remove a judge at the Supreme Court win and one you remove Chief Justice. The only difference there is just by name and by identification. And a Chief Justice, the only way we are different from a judge on the Supreme Court bench, and they say you have been given extra administrative role. Chief Justice no can administrative role. And your core function is a judge. Is the reason why I be a Chief Justice still you are just an S official. A Chief Justice is premised on the fact that you are a judge. And to win your judge, you cannot assume that role. And the flag is we are incompetent. I was say, okay, Munji Chief Justice, now we have a sense of shame. No reason will even make this argument. So I think that in some now is a bit twisted. Maybe and I can assemble na who answer for maybe. They are not giving her wise counsel because this is take here at some point. I'm told to say or the Microphone President Mahama Charles resign. So clearly, if I give you an impression of somebody who is not stable. Somebody who is emotionally unstable, and people are just engineer push you and I'm sure you see why inspire a lot of people among for and why inspire more. This is not an opportunity to be good anymore because some of the arguments she's making obviously are quite childish and they are irrelevant and good anymore. She's just subjecting herself to public ridicule because there is no court. Let me say there is no court in this land. I look at what so I'll bet me arrival at a decision say the woman should go back to the Supreme Court. No court. That court will be the most unreasonable court ever because that particular ruling will defy reasoning, it will defy common sense, and it will defy logic. It will never happen. So she should know better and stop all this nonsense. You understand? And rather find a way. If there is a way, accept your fate, you still have life. Now the public service in the Yabamano. And I don't go say already Supreme Court and now Supreme Court. I know among from where by Juma, they've even almost stop here more in their private enterprises, they're doing better. So is she saying that she cannot thrive and answer that because process now President Akwa Wadrudo, it will be very almost impossible for any court to reverse it. Because don't forget that the president just exercised an executive authority. For it to be revoked, no, you will need a mountain of a reason, reasonable, sound, and very logical to be able to cancel it. So the only I think that is just politics. Or I dare say in free space, because I say not here. You see, because of now, maybe she thought say it was going to trigger a wave of public sentiment among for the Cambiamano. But we say Galamse issue crab a Kata. A Ghana for Ghana for are concerned about the sanctity of the institution called the judiciary. They don't care about any individual. And to what Nasa Braba Obonina Egu Sa judiciary no Fiasamba Obian Kabima Metesa one of MPP boys if you got tonight TV say NDC for a year Ghana for Adru. Now a year no one was some pam chief justice among for no, people don't care. Because abroad moto judiciary no brabo bone ruling as binyansa nim no. Ya Ghana for warn them. On social media, young people are out there advocating the need that judiciary will restore its sanity back. People are using it as an instrument of terror. People are using it as an instrument to cow people into subjugation, intimidating people and do a whole lot of nasty stuff. And you think your friends say we're not turning on you. Young people will waste their time because Chief Justice, who cares about you? Understand? So I think that she miscalculated this whole thing. Mr. President Mahama from Emra, I will be the first person to sit here and call him out. And I'm saying, since the activation of this whole process thus far, nobody, and with her surrogate, when the TV so Kenyans assemble, article was breached, article was breached. Nobody. All that they say is and the floodgate has been opened. A buying for bar, or no super pump chief just me said that Mranayan Sasana. Me said we shouldn't change any law because there is no constitution under the sun anywhere in the world. You can check any democracy. I grant absolute tenure to anybody operating under a constitution. Always there is a window for removal. Even the president, who is the most powerful person on this land, can be removed through impeachment by parliament. So we cannot create a shield of a position. The best guarantee I will be to media man when it's all the brabo papa. Now I'm making sure that you inspire public confidence, no trust. Sabaya that tenor no yet safeguarded. But no law, no legislation can safeguard you if you decide to do things. Maybe you Ukotana Russia, South Korea, North Korea, other like China, no more more democracy, or more dia, and that's a different thing. But in any civilized democratic dispensation, trust me, there is no position that is ironclad. I do and think Torkonoo our hands are tied. No, we needed to save the judiciary, and for me that is it. I mean, I don't know my catcher President Mahama said. You see, maybe I sanitizing the judiciary, make me focus in near Sroha. Say a call from her, Sabi. Kwasia ruling a man for a man or form honor, okay, be a William Bessel at the lower court. Most of them travel to the high court and they quash them. Let us spend time and go to the grounds, the lower court magistrate in as a form of
circuit court.
Exactly. A man for a gentleman and Kokon as a for the will as a binyan signing, Obiako, we are Kokon, ya genuine 30 years in as a form. I think your sentencing regime, we need to look at it holistically. Now you're making sure, say, and ma for the Mrabaya Juma and the process is very transparent. Obia Otikota, Odia Semdiano, I qualify with that integrity and on Nipa what demonstrators or by bias. And now quite a high court now. Most of them, I could follow staff almost 100 judges before Ansano Ufri. And some of these people are party executive, people with non-party ties. Very soon, these people will rise and become Supreme Court judges with their own biases. I know that what will be the future of this judiciary. That is why I am calling on whoever becomes the Chief Justice going forward, to spend the time in not only look at the judiciary, don't sanitize it, because my culture is one institution we cannot afford to fail. Now see the dear grown-ups and near magic and summer. That's a Ghana for sorry. Obi abegano kroma. So it's for Mami way there. Everybody should see her as a disgraced Chief Justice who has been sacked. She's no more relevant in the scheme of affairs. Let us forget her. She can go to court. And I'm saying that this particular way, court in about because this thing has no reasonable basis. I will be so granting anything. She's frustrated. Unfortunately, she's not heeding to wisdom and wise counsel. And I ogun anima say, Uncle Sungun anima say, no one about to obey. But never oye I think Ghana for should focus and ask the president say, dear Abano Baba so no, they're not yet cano. Say yen sanitize your judiciary, no. Chief Justice Corner doesn't mean that we are done. But my focus is on the lower court. Yeah, Unimbi, Uko lower court, Nema cost air time. We need to spend time and make sure that we sanitize the judiciary. And for me, that is the most important thing. I know Bia, what Chief Justice, our Dakobona Brabo Bonedia Homaso, and arrogance, and that she's fighting her way back to come and sit on what bench. And I always say the impunity in the Supreme Court bench. So I think she should give us a break.
All right, for age Diana to us, so Kofi Simon say someone should tell Mr. Siedunketia to stop the thank you to. They ask for Chief Justice, leave her alone. She has no case. She is abusing the affirmative action as a woman. Oh, Ebenezer, please tell President Mahama for me that if pre-bargaining is a plea bargaining, PLE, is favor NPP and NDC criminal, then it must favor the phone stealers, plantain, goat stealers, and food items because they are also Ghanaian. I think I agree with you. If I have one person who may have there, and then we are going to I don't know what I'm doing too. I think you are making a lot of sense. And see, if I age,
me side me no back on my age abaso back so obviously I go day in top. Yes, the courage to confront the fence of the Ghana Bar Association. Many people think that these are esteemed group of lawyers. They should be the moral compass of the legal fraternity in this country.
Ghana's politics just got hotter. The SAC CJ taking on Mahama again, and Ivan blasting her is sure to spark more controversy in the coming days. What do you think about this latest legal twist? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to PENDREAM TV for more breaking political updates. Until next time, stay engaged and keep watching PENDREAM TV.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.